So yeah, I'm an organizer with 350 Vermont. So I spend a lot of time trying to mobilize people around taking action on climate. And one of the models that I found really useful that we use in some of our workshops is called the 4 R's of change making, which is a way of thinking about how to bring about system change. So I think for a long time, and I was one of these people, the environmental movement was really focused on individual actions. So it was like changing light bulbs, and I mean, that's the cliched example now, but what can we do in our daily, in our own personal lives to make the changes that we need to bring? And that is becoming increasingly apparent that is just as much a part of the problem, just thinking of ourselves as individuals, consumers, how can we buy our way out of this? And so the 4 R's of change making is looking more holistically and more big picture about system change, and acknowledging that the system is actually not broken. It's working exactly as it was intended to work. And I've seen a sign recently that says, the system is not broken, it's fixed, which really resonates. But the system is working as intended for the elite class, for the 1%, for the people in power. But it's not working for most people, and it's not working for the planet. So how can we bring about the types of transformative changes that I feel like are needed to have a livable planet for our children and for us and future generations? So the 4 R's stand for reform, resist, reimagine, and recreate. And the idea is that all of those are needed in order to bring about this kind of system change. And they really can even support each other. No one is necessarily more important than the other, but different people may feel more aligned to one or the other. It's a combination of small changes, but also like really big, outside of the box, just like this is changing our whole lives and how we imagine them. But yeah, I do that kind of imagining a lot. And so what that looks like to me is being rooted much more in community, like really hyper localizing a lot more of our lives, being much more connected to people who live around us, neighbors and community members, and calling on each other more for, for needs like community of care. Spending time, we do once a week a program with the Vermont Wilderness School called Oyasi, and my older child, soon to be 8, we spend every Thursday outside. And that program is so important in just feeling more connected to a place in a really tangible way. Like what are the plants that grow here, and what are the animals that call this home, and what are their patterns and cycles of seasons, and feeling like we're a part of that. We're not just looking at it from the outside, but we're really part of that rhythm. And so yeah, for me, a lot of that is just like helping my kids to reimagine and integrate some of what we're doing now into their lives, so it feels just like this is life. This is how we do things. And I do that also with, bringing them to rallies, and we have megaphones in our house that we take the batteries out because they like to walk around and chant in their spare time. But on the one hand, it feels like, oof, it hurts that this is so much a part of their life, that there's so much that we have to be out on the streets to protest, racial injustices and migrant injustices and, economic, gender, all of these like intersecting oppressions feels heavy for kids to be part of. But then on the other side, it's like, it's really fun and joyful when we get together and they see their friends and they're on the megaphone and we're singing and we're chanting, and these are heavy issues, and there is some joy in coming together that they feel. So that Yeah, and that feels good. And they often talk about like, when's the next rally going to be? I want to lead the chant. um, yeah, so it feels like normalizing that in a way that's ideally just building their sense of community and care and love and not fear. That feels important.